All right, welcome to another edition of the Georgia Track and Field and Cross Country Coaching Collective podcast. I am Andy Christie, head cross country coach and assistant track coach at Mill Creek High School. I'm joined by another person that heads up the collective, Chris Mayer from Athens Academy. And we have several guests today to help us kind of roll out our mentor program that we're going to talk about. But first, just to let everybody know, you can find us online at Georgia, spelled out, tfxccollective.com. We also are on Twitter and Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel with all of our past podcast interviews and episodes. And also there's a page on MileSplit with all of them collected as well. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Chris to kind of kick off this episode about the mentor program.
Yeah, so we're super excited to be rolling this out and offering it to the coaches of Georgia. And I'll start that our first rollout is going to be more distance or cross country related. We've got a track and field and spring related list of mentors coming out later in the fall. But the mentor program is really for anybody who, maybe you just need an outsider looking in, a different perspective. Maybe you want to ask how somebody's going to accomplish something that you're trying to, or that you've struggled with. You need just a fresh perspective. Maybe you're a basketball coach who just got handed the cross country program. All that kind of stuff. That's who it's for. So today we're excited to have Coach Charlie Sparks, Coach Eric Doherty, and Coach Shelly Cranford joining us. The full list of coaches is available on our website, as well as other details on the mentoring program, kind of like the expectations and just whatever. Just go to the website, check it out, click on it, see who's there, and maybe you'll recognize a name or a coach in your area. I think Coach Christie, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of like what we think we specialize in or our strengths as mentors is also listed there. So maybe you'll get a little more info on what you're looking for as in a mentoring coach. So to me, the mentor program is really special because Georgia, I think we're a great state. We've got a lot of potential in athletes, and we have a ever-growing sport, specifically in cross country, track and field. I think we've been obviously a powerhouse for a long time, but and any way that we can extend a little bit of knowledge and a helping hand to just branch out to help those athletes along is huge. So selfishly, or not selfishly, but maybe for me, I just love collaboration. I love sharing ideas. I'm an open book. And this is a way for me to kind of scratch that itch, just kind of talk shop. So without further ado, we're going to go in alphabetical by first name today, just so we don't start talking over each other. But first things first, where are you guys currently coaching? How long have you been coaching? And we'll start with Charlie.
So I'm Charlie Sparks. I'm at North Oconee, up near Athens. So Chris and I get to see each other about every week, especially during track. We get to hang out a good bit. But I've been at North Oconee for 6 years, and this will be my 12th year coaching. I kind of started, which I don't know how everybody else fully got into it. I ran collegiately and then kind of went straight from that into teaching. I started at a brand new school. We had an asphalt track. I had like 4 kids in the program when I got there, and it was that was an eye opener. It was a chance to really kind of look at how I wanted to kind of set up the teams I wanted for the future and things like that. Then fast forward, moved back to the Athens area and was at Winder for a couple years. And then finally, right when the COVID year kind of hit, Ralph Moore was retiring from North and asked me if I would take over for him at North Oconee. And it was just a blessing to be able to kind of to get to that community and be a part and kind of build that program from what it was to what it is now. But we have grown a ton. When I first got there at North, we had like 22 to 24 kids on the team, boys and girls combined. Last year we had 106. So we've got a really good group of kids, and we're starting to really get the competitive aspect coming into it now. But it's been fun to kind of see that program grow over those and change over these past 6 years, from what it was to what it is now. I don't know how much more I need to go into that.
No, that's great. Eric.
Hi, my name is Eric Doherty, and I'm at Union Grove High School. I've been the head cross country coach and the head track and field coach there for the past 24 years. Union Grove is in McDonough, Georgia, which is in Henry County, kind of on the south side. I can kind of, commiserate with Charlie there. Asphalt track when I started, and really it was an asphalt track for the first almost 15 years that I was there. Henry County did not get rubberized tracks countywide until about 2018, I believe. So yeah, that was.
Eric, sorry, I don't want to. I think Coach Christie froze. He just texted me.
Sure.
Oh.
Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, I remember the first, because I started at the school in Birmingham in like January, and we went to an indoor meet, and all of my sprinters got DQ'd because they did not know how to stay in lanes.
Oh wow.
Like the first meet, it was just like DQ, out of lane. I'm like, you're fine, guys, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Best way
Yeah,
to mess it up a few times.
No, we would cone off the inside of the football field and do our intervals on that. And for the first few years, it was always kind of a battle. We've had like 12 football coaches in that time period. Yeah. And track has definitely taken kind of the dominant sport out of the two. So now that it's a pretty, it's not an issue to recruit kids or get kids out for track. Cross country is still, got to do that salesman job every year. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're always fighting with flag football,
Mm-hmm.
fighting with travel
some of that
soccer.
stuff has been added. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And we're so small. Like three of our varsity girls last year were a part of the flag football team.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you got to let them do it.
Yeah. I'm having to share a flag football for the first time this year on the girls' side. Yeah. So.
All right. So Coach Christie's computer just randomly decided to launch a restart. So he should be back shortly. This happens like every time we do this. So it's not a.
Oh yeah. I think I turned mine on and it was like update 1 of 14. I was like, sweet. Now's the time to do that.
Oh, wow. Is it still recording? That's funny.
Oh yeah, since he's the one that technically
That's
started.
crazy. It says it still is. Mine at least says it's recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. So Eric, have you did you go, when was your last year at Smoky Mountain?
So my son was born in 2012. So I think it was 2012.
Okay.
I went back. I did go back for a year or two when he was school age. So maybe 15, 16 was my last.
I feel like we'd been there together for more than a year or two.
Yeah, we've overlapped some for sure. Yeah. Are you involved with the Alabama version?
No, we're recording, so I won't. I'm sure Coach Christie will edit that out. Yeah, not involved with the Alabama version. I think there are some folks who wanted me, and then there were some folks who just said they didn't really have the room.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So, and I get it. Some of it was like they were prioritizing coaches who were bringing a dozen kids or more, and
right,
like we just weren't.
Mm-hmm.
We never
5 to 8 a year was kind of So.
Okay. I feel like our kids are always traveling, like in the summer, especially just the demographic we have at North. I had one kid was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be in Germany all summer." Yeah. I was like, "Cool, you got it."
All right. Well, Coach, it says it's been recording this whole time, so I don't know.
Okay.
Probably
Good.
clip.
Hopefully, sorry guys, my computer decided
No,
to
it's
do
fine. I
something
mean,
it has never done before and just randomly restart.
some good banter there that I think lightened the mood a bit, but we'll probably clip it all.
Yeah.
But I don't know, unless we want Aaron Kynes to like me even more than he already does. No, so
Charlie, I know you were talking. Did
No,
you get to finish your?
we had gotten around to Eric. So
Okay, great.
Eric, since I cut you off, we might let you start back.
Sure, take two. Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Eric Daugherty. I'm the head cross country and track and field coach at Union Grove High School. Been there for 24 years. Union Grove is in McDonough, Georgia, which is in Henry County, kind of down the south side of Atlanta.
All right, and Shelly, yeah, no, sorry, Eric, you were saying the first time that you could kind of sentiment with Charlie with the asphalt track and.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We had an asphalt track for probably about the first almost 15 years coaching track there. Cross country and distance running in general has never been big in that area. We've managed to achieve and have some pretty good success over the years, but it is working recruiting because other than if the coach is not out there actively recruiting, the kids are not going to show up. Middle school cross country is not a thing in my county. I've started that program about 10, 12 years ago, but there's no official stipend for that. So we have to fundraise all that just to have a coach kind of come out there 2 or 3 days. I mean, we're still doing the training, but just have another body out there. So cross country has been kind of an uphill climb. I love the school. I love the area, but yeah, we definitely have to get creative with what we do.
All right. And Shelly.
Yes, I'm Shelly Cranford. I am at Bleckley County, which is in middle South Georgia. I'm starting my 37th year here at Bleckley County, which is also where I'm from, where I graduated from high school at. And probably the dinosaur of the coaches on here, I'm sure, but I started in 1989. So I'm in my 5th decade actually of coaching since I got 89 in there in the 80s. But as some of you said, when I first started, I mean, prehistoric, we had a dirt track that then turned into asphalt, and we finally got a rubberized track 3 years ago, so 2022. So it's been a journey. It's been a fun ride, and I hope it keeps going for a few more years. I love what I do and just passionate about kids and about coaching, and so I just hope I get to keep doing a few more years what I've been doing for these past 37. But it's been a great experience.
Well, that kind of brings us to our next question, and maybe it's a little double or dual meaning or dual question. But what got you into coaching, and who would you say have been your mentors? So, Charlie, start us off.
I come from a family of teachers and coaches, so it kind of was just for me joining the family business. But I think for me, I've had a lot of different people that have influenced me over the years. My collegiate coaches, Jeff Pigg and Patrick Cunniff, who were both kind of in my 2 different, when I started UGA and when I finished, both taught me a lot about just different methods of training because they were 2 very, very different types of coaches. Both were really, really good in their own senses. And then I think the biggest influence I've got of actually and he was technically a lay coach for us, was Tom Williams, who most of y'all know Tom. He's been around forever. And he came and helped us out for a couple years. And it really taught me to kind of rethink what the purpose I want in my training is, and to being able to look not so much at that particular season, but look at the long term and look at the year down the road and 2 years down the road and so on, and what I want the program as a whole to get to. And being able to just kind of talk with him and listen, he'll still, if I want to talk to him, he'll call me up and sometimes just randomly send a text and say, hey, I saw this, randomly checking mile split like he does. But I've also had Ken Hutto, who is here at North Dakota. He's our head track coach, has been in it forever. He has been really good at teaching just me that kind of look at the culture aspect and to not take things too seriously at times. but yeah, I think those two are probably the two biggest influences in a coaching aspect for me, of just kind of making me rethink what I want out of my program.
Yeah, I kind of likewise. I got to know Tom from running camp right before I started at Lovett. And without, I think, hearing him, like I did the coaching clinic, and without hearing some of his ideas and perspective and getting me to kind of think within about, how to look at a program differently, I don't think I would have been ready for that Lovett job. Because it was a totally different animal than what I've stepped into before in terms of what was there and what was ready to go. And like, we were kind of rebuilding it from the ground up. And yeah, Tom's a huge one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Eric?
Sorry, real quick.
No,
I can vouch for Tom as well. And first of all, Coach Cranford, my first year was 1999. So you and I are repping the coaches from the 1900s today. But yeah, Tom Williams, when I first started out at Decula back in the early 2000s, was somebody that I befriended and yeah, kind of took me under his wing a little bit and would visit with him at meets, but also just talk shop during the summer and various things. So he's somebody that definitely helped me out. Eric, what about you?
Well, yeah, Tom Williams for sure could add to that list from the experience at running camp and getting to know him there. But I'm going to toss out another name, Richard Westbrook.
Oh, okay.
And Coach Westbrook had, a long career in Florida, then, Lovejoy. But he was at Luella, which is in Henry County, when they opened up in the early 2000s. And we would go head to head there. We did a lot of trips to, Disney World, as a trip together with our teams. And so just kind of picking his brain as a young coach, my early 20s, starting out and having his experience, and that was really helpful. Track and field wise, Nelson Griffin, who was our longtime hurdle and jumps coach, just retired. He was a 40-year teacher and educator in upstate New York, then retired down in Georgia, and he has been with us the last 12 years. Just amazing wealth of knowledge. And Claude Spinks, we went head to head for over a decade. He was at Eagles Landing. I was at Union Grove. And just kind of that friendly rivalry and always bouncing ideas off each other. He was a big influence on my coaching.
All right, Coach Cranford.
Yeah, when I started, my high school experience, I had a great track coach, but I didn't really have a distance coach. So when I ran in high school, in the early 80s, I mean, we pretty much trained ourselves, us distance runners. We just drew up our own workouts. I mean, we drew them up in the sand, then we'd take off and do whatever we'd drawn up. And so I never really had a distance coach at all until I was a walk-on at the University of Georgia. And so Coach Jeff Gaither was there for 2 of the 3 years I was there. Well, I mean, I was there all 4 years, but he was there for 2 of those years. But anyway, he probably had the biggest influence on me early in my career as far as coaching goes, as far as really helping me once I started at Bleckley County in 1989. I remember emailing him one time, and he sent me, like the previous year, I think when he left Georgia, he went to Darlington. And so he was at the Darlington school for many, many years. But I remember one year he emailed me, asked him, could he give me some guidance, some help as far as training goes. And I remember he took the time that he typed up the previous year from cross country at Darlington. He typed up every workout they did the previous year and sent that to me. And that was just hugely helpful to me at that time. I had my own ideas, but there again, mine were just based on my own experience of my own self. And when I was at Georgia, I had 3 coaches there during my 4 years. There was a pretty big turnover, but Coach Gaither was my coach for 2 of those 4 years. And so he was really instrumental in really just giving me some guidance as far as training, how you can do things. And even though my kids couldn't run maybe to the level that his kids did at Darlington, I took what he gave me and just kind of adapted it to my own kids. Used kind of the same training format, but just I had to adapt it to the kids I had at that time. And from there, and then as time went on, the other 2 coaches that probably had the big influence in my life were, first one was Coach Ron Clanton. And when he retired from Peachtree Ridge, he moved to Dublin. And so I kind of got to know him even more. I knew him my whole coaching career, but I really got to know him when he moved to Dublin, which is like 30 miles from Cochrane. And so he really became a big mentor to me as well. He really shared training ideas that he had done with two of his Foot Locker guys that had made it to the Foot Locker Nationals. And so he shared the training that they had done in previous years leading into that, which was a big help for me. And then even after him, or along that same time period, was Coach Joe Tribble at the Westminster School. There again, he shared training ideas with me, even though at this point I've been coaching 30-something years maybe, but still to talk to someone like him and to get ideas from him that had been doing it longer than I have been doing it was just a great blessing and a great help to me as a coach, just all these different guys' ideas. And there again, I didn't have the kids that they did maybe to run as fast, but I just took what they gave me and I just adapted it to the kids that I have. And that's been a real help over the years, just to take other people's ideas. You don't have to come up with it all yourself. There's a lot of stuff out there. You just got to be willing to ask other coaches for help. But those guys have probably been the three biggest in my career as far as being mentors to me as a coach.
So common thing and theme of kind of being an open book. And I think it's not necessarily the recipe, but it's the chef. You know, we can all pass the recipe around and everybody can adapt it to what they need. Joe Tribble, that's a big one. I mean, getting to work in such close proximity to him, just kind of being down the road. And I'll tell you that when we changed region track to allowing 3 athletes to get through instead of just 2, or 3 entries instead of just 2, I knew, we were going to have a tough battle with whatever 3 Westminster kids were put on the line. So, Joe, definitely a legend in the sport. So one thing that Coach Christie asked everybody to provide was sort of a list of their strengths, or maybe somewhat of a coaching philosophy or of some sort. Could each of y'all maybe shed a little bit of light on what you as a coach would maybe feel like your
specialty?
Yeah, your specialty is, on what you think you can help somebody out with maybe the most, or a top 2 or 3 or something like that. Charlie.
So I think my 2 big ones I put were like workout planning and kind of looking at the long-term aspect of that. And then my other one was just how to, more so related to culture and team culture. Those are kind of the 2 big areas that I feel most comfortable with. And mainly I say that because I feel like that's what I've been kind of focusing on myself for these past 6 years. And so I feel a little bit more adept to kind of talk about the culture aspect behind it and how you can structure workouts to look at that full concept of a season or a year long, or whatever you're looking at with an athlete.
Cool. Eric.
For me, probably, I don't know if you could call it doing more of less, or working, achieving, and challenging circumstances. But I felt like we've done a really good job, having a program and a culture and a success without really having a lot of outside support, and whether that be financial support or, support from the county in terms of other things. From 2010 to 2019, for example, Claude Spinks and I started the Battle of Atlanta Invitational, which is one of the largest cross-country meets in the state during that time period. And that pretty much ran our season budget-wise, putting that meet together. Again, we have 10 high schools in the county, but cross-country is not a recognized middle school sport. So getting the permission to, even though it's not a recognized sport, coach middle school athletes and train them, and then fundraise for a position to actually coach that, just kind of navigating that. Convincing students who maybe not understand what cross country is, or even just distance running in general, hey, come give the sport a try. It'll make you better in track. It'll make you better in soccer. Just kind of really having to sell it in an area that it's just not a hotbed of distance running.
Charlie?
Yeah, I guess some of the things that I feel like I can help people the most in, maybe any part of the state, but maybe especially, I hate to say South Georgia, but any outskirts of even Georgia. It could be Metro Atlanta, really, but even other parts of Georgia, that if there's somebody there that has never coached at all, or maybe they're starting a program from scratch, or maybe they're in a program that just hadn't progressed very much over the years. And I feel like when I started Bleckley County, I ran on the first team we ever had at Bleckley County in 1980. So I was there from the beginning. And in 1989, when I started, I I've been there ever since. So I've kind of, from the ground up, I've been there as far as how do you build a program? How do you, when I first started, I think I had maybe 10, 15 kids, maybe total at the high school. And now I run anywhere from, I coach middle school and high school together. So I run anywhere from 75 to 100 kids. And we're a small D1 school, so we're not a real big school in general. But I just feel like that if there's coaches there thinking, I just don't know what to do. How do I build my program up? And it could be a small school, it could be a large school. But I feel like I've been there and done enough things over my career that some that worked, some that did not work, obviously. But you learn from those things. And I feel like I could be a help to maybe somebody that's trying to start their program or just trying to build it up. Maybe they've been coaching for a while and they're not seeing any progress in that. Then I'd like to feel like that I could help people in that regard. And for other people, they may say, well, I don't have any help. Well, for 36 years, the past 36 years, for the most part, I mean, I've coached middle school and high school for the most part by myself. I mean, I've been the only coach Bleckley County has pretty much had since 1989 as far as cross country goes and distance running goes. So, and you can do it. I mean, don't think, well, I don't have any help. I don't have any assistance. I mean, you can do it. But the next point I want to say is I feel like the most important thing you got to be as a coach is you've got to be organized. If you're not organized, you're going to be in chaos every day. And we've probably all been there at some point, especially early in our career, where kids would just run around everywhere and couldn't get any handle on what was going on. But if you're organized, I feel like you got, even if you're by yourself, that you can make your program work. You just got to have things structured so that the kids know every day what they're supposed to be doing. They know what you expect out of them. And there again, I hadn't had this coming up year, I actually have an assistant for the first time in a long time. It's one of my former runners that's coming back to coach with me. So I'm really excited about that. But I just don't want people to get discouraged if they don't have any help, or like somebody mentioned earlier, if you don't have any support from your school or from your county or whatever, that you can make that work. And I tell people too, I said, you got to sell your own program. If you don't sell your program, then other people are not going to buy into it with it. If your parents, your admin, your AD, your superintendent, your board of education, if they don't see it's important to you, then it's probably not going to be very important to them. So as a coach, I mean, I feel like you've got to sell your own program because, like others said, I mean, it's not the big sport in Georgia per se, but it doesn't have to be. But you got to let other people know that what you're doing is important to you and it's important to these kids and their family. And then you got to make it important to your school and to your community. And if you do that, then you can get more backing than maybe you had before that, and people will buy into what you're doing. So I guess those would be the main things I'd like to be able to contribute or help people with just in general. And I guess the final thing is if people want to put on home meets, I mean, there again, you've got to be organized if you run a meet. If you ever put on meets before, you know what I'm talking about. As a coach, the worst thing I hate to do is I hate to go to a meet that doesn't start on time. The first race is supposed to go off at 8:30, then I'm expecting it to go off at 8:30 because I got my kids getting ready to run at 8:30. And we've all been there where it's 15, 20 minutes later, the race hadn't started yet. And so I really pride myself here at Bleckley, really trying to put on good meets that start on time. Coaches know that when whatever race is supposed to run at 10 o'clock, it's going to start at 10 o'clock. And that's been my goal. And I'd like to feel like I can offer advice maybe for putting on meet. We host a state middle school meet every year that we started, and that's a huge endeavor there. So I really like people to put on home meets to reach out and get some advice from other people before they try to do that, because as most of you know, it's a big undertaking to all the logistics that go into hosting home cross country meets. That's a huge thing. So all those aspects, I'd like to feel like maybe I could be a contributor to somebody else's success at their own school.
So much good stuff there, Coach Cranford. You talking about organization made me think about, when I started at Decula, we had maybe 15 boys on the team. And so it wasn't a big deal to tell kids, here's what you got for today, the different groups. But then thankfully our numbers started growing. And the next year, I want to say it was maybe double, 30 or so. And I learned real quick, I can't just go around each group and tell them what they have. It was taking forever. And so thus was born my practice plans kind of sheet of here's what everybody's got. Go look at the sheet and then see me if you have questions. Because I was like, this is not an efficient way to do this. But that was something that I just had not been told how, I kind of learned, unfortunately, by experience. And thankfully it pushed me to more organization. And then I love what you said about the meets. Yeah. Whether it's a small meet or big invitational, I think all of us coaches really appreciate when we go somewhere and they've done the prep and it's obvious and things that they have under their control are running like clockwork, and the kids have a great experience, parents, et cetera. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, I was thinking back to, so I think everybody here knows, maybe you don't know, I ran for Coach Christie at Tequila. I mean, you were in your probably third or fourth year. Mm-hmm. And I want to say our team was at its biggest in the fall of 2003. Well, we had 70.
It was some 50, 60, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Well, and I remember my freshman and my sophomore, like you were pretty much a one-man show. With a bunch of just wild high school boys. And, so, and you managed it really well. But I just remember it being like, you were relying on, managers, or a lay coach. And I think that is a extremely common situation. So I think like we've all been there, and being able to talk about how to recruit a manager and help them get things organized as well, or even leading into just team leadership. Charlie, that plugs into kind of your culture talk. Or, a lay coach, and you never know, spotty. Maybe they're there one day, they can't make it, they're late. I love it. I mean, we all had to drive a bus, like we drove mini buses everywhere. So with a team that exploded from 40-ish athletes to like 100 and something in about a 3 or 4 year span. I mean, all of a sudden organizing minibuses was just like one of the biggest headaches for me, so it goes so much beyond the training, right? So it's great to hear everybody talking about a little bit more than how to help another coach in how to train their athletes, but like all the other, dare I say, headaches that come with, operating and running a program.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just like Eric was talking about recruiting the runners, maybe you have to recruit some help. I mean, like Chris said,
up on roster.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have an assistant coach until I want to say my 7th year of coaching. And then it was a community coach who wasn't in the building. And then it wasn't until I got to Mill Creek, my 2nd year at Mill Creek. So now we're talking about 10 or 11 years into coaching that I had more than one assistant. And when I got to that point, I was like, this is like the best thing ever. Like it was a luxury that I just didn't even know what to do with. And then I was able to start working on delegating, because for a number of years I had to do it all. And it was nice to kind of share the wealth. But let's move on to another question. We'll start with you, Charlie. And some of you have already kind of touched on this, but what is it that makes you want to give back and be a part of this mentor program? What's kind of your motivation for this?
For me, it's just I ran high school in Georgia. I ran collegiately in Georgia, and I've seen just how much it's grown even from when I was in high school, let alone the pure number of athletes that are doing it, but also just the investment of teachers that are kind of being, getting that kind of, you're told, hey, you're going to coach cross country, and wanting them to be able to feel like they're giving the best they can to their kids. Ultimately for us as coaches, we know on the outside, a lot of people look and, performance is everything and things like that. And I'm sure y'all would all agree. For me, it's those relationships we get to build with kids, and we get to see that girl that's never ran a 5K forever. She's always had to stop and walk, and finally getting to actually finish a race and run the whole thing. Those tend to be the things that I get more excited about than my kid went 15:45. Yeah, dude, I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. But Joe Schmo over here didn't stop in his 5K today. And so getting to see, and for coaches to look and see even though I'm not where these top programs are, we're not where Coach Christie has, with having what looks like 7 guys running under 16s at times. And these programs where you see, oh, these guys just are built differently. These girls are able to go in and being able to look and say, you know what, we might not be the best program, but we can get our kids better. And helping coaches get to that. Because this is a lifelong thing. A kid can't go play football for the rest of their life. They can't always go play baseball or things like that. But you can have some kids that they are going to be lifelong runners. And it's a chance for them to build relationships and to do those things. And us as coaches have the unique opportunity to help that. And so wanting to feel like every coach has the chance to do that.
Excellent. Eric?
For me, I ran track and cross country in high school in Virginia, then cross country in Tennessee at a small D3 school. But when I first started, I got the job because it was a brand new school and they just needed somebody. So I didn't really have anybody to kind of teach me, show me how to be a head coach. I kind of basically my first few years, well, what did I like as an athlete? How did I like to be coached? And that was kind of my starting block. So I'm really grateful to those coaches like, Coach Westbrook and Coach Williams. That really helped me grow as a coach. So if I can do anything like that to kind of give back, then I'm all for that. And just to kind of echo what Charlie was saying, it's absolutely the runners that you hear from later in life, and they come back and talk to you. Wow, that experience of pushing me beyond what I thought I could do. I transferred that to school. I transferred that to work, to my personal life. And just kind of hearing that, 10, 15, even 20 years later, really kind of speaks to the fact that, wow, what we do does have an impact, well after that race is over. And that's just a really cool feeling.
Shelly?
Yeah, kind of along the same lines as Coach Sparks, Coach Daugherty. I mean, I want coaches to know one thing right off the bat is, look, new coaches, you don't have to make all the mistakes that we made. If you talk to other people, you can learn from them. You can learn from their mistakes they've already made to realize, hey, this is not a good idea. Or sometimes you got to learn by experience yourself. But there's a lot of things new coaches could avoid by just, if they talk to someone else or have somebody else that's been there before them or been coaching longer than they have, that could give them some wisdom as far as ideas of maybe what to do, what not to do. And Coach Sparks or somebody said, I think, especially, I hate to say down here in Metro or Middle Georgia or South Georgia, but a lot of times coaches are coached because they're being told they got to coach. It's a whoever coach. It's your year to coach cross country. I mean, for coaches like that, I mean, I hate it for the kids in those programs a lot of times because of the experience that they have, because there's not anybody coaching that sport that really cares or really loves what they're doing. But even if you are in that situation, there are people you can reach out to make it a good experience. And I tell people all the time, look, say kids, they have 4 years in high school and that's it. That's it. And I feel like us as coaches, if we're called to coach, I feel like it's our job or our calling, hopefully, to make that the best 4 years of high school for those kids that we can, because you don't get to come back later. You don't get a do-over of high school if you don't do it you've only got a 4-year window. And so I really, as a coach, I really try to reiterate and harp on that is we got to make it the best experience we can for these kids while they're in high school, because they don't get another chance. This is it. And I don't know how some of you coaches feel, but I guess because I've been around longer, I feel like there's a general shift in high school athletics that's like, it's almost like you hear so many people talking about, we got to coach them to get them ready for the next level. Well, that's great. If they want to go to college and run, my kids, I'm all for that. I'll do anything I can to help them to get to college. But I just don't feel like I don't structure my program around getting kids ready for the next level, because as we all know, most of the kids that run for us or any other program, they're not going to go to college and run. They just want to be on a team in high school with their teammates. They want to get out there and compete because they love the sport. They love competing. They love representing their school, their community. They don't want to run at the next level. And I guess that just reiterates my point of I wanted to make it the best 4-year experience for those kids that I can. And like this next year, I'll have 3 kids that are running in college. And for those kids that do want to pursue that, then as I'm sure all of you do, I'm going to do whatever I can to help them to run in college. But I'm not going to tailor my program basically with the intent of we got to run it like a college program to get kids ready for the next level, because as we all know, 97, 98, 99% of our kids are not going to run in college. It's like one of you said a while ago. I mean, this is a lifelong sport that I want them to enjoy doing this for the rest of their life if they choose to do that. And I want to make it the best experience as I can for them. And as we all know, I mean, winning's important, striving to win is important. But Coach Sparks, as you said, and at the end of the day, to me, I mean, it's about the relationships that you have with your students and your runners. I mean, winning. I mean, the thrill of winning is great, but it does not last very long. I mean, it's great to win, but then there's always something else coming up. We're trying to win again. We're trying to win again, whether it's region or state or whatever it might be. But those relationships are for a lifetime. And like one of you said also, that there's no greater feeling than some kid that you had, y'all can't relate to this yet, but you had 30, 35 years ago that comes back to see you. You know, they're glad to see you. They remember the time that you had, that we went and ran this huge hill somewhere or whatever experience they had, that you feel like from them it was a great experience for them. Somebody you might not have seen in 35 years, but yet when they come back, they remember those things that you did with them. They don't talk about winning necessarily, this or that. It's more about that relationship that you had with them and the experiences that you were able to provide for them. And I just want coaches now to miss that point, that look, winning is great and all that, but don't make that your sole purpose of what you're about. Make that relationship with each one of those kids the best it can be. And to me, that's the greatest reward you'll get in your coaching careers, when those kids come back and see you and talk to you and just reminisce about the past and what a great time they had while they were with you too. So to me, I just want coaches, especially newer coaches, just don't miss that. Don't miss that opportunity of what coaching should really be about and the most important things of it. And I feel like if coaches do that, then they'll feel like they're doing what they're called to do, and they're doing it for the right reason.
I love all those answers, guys. And it makes me a few things I want to highlight real quick. Absolutely the relationships. I mean, I still talk to my high school coach, Coach Wood, that we named the meet we host after. And, I'm 48 years old, and he's trying to say like, hey, call me Rick. And I'm like, nope, you're Coach Wood. You'll always be Coach Wood, because it just sounds weird otherwise. But that relationship he formed with me and the interest he took in me just has had a profound effect on my life. And then another point I wanted to make, in particular with Eric and Shelly, you guys talked about, being outside and even Charlie, all of y'all are outside the metro area. And that's part of why we wanted y'all to be a part of this. Cause I know my experience as a metro coach is very different than experience elsewhere, in terms of student population and the community and all of the things. Chris being in the Athens Academy as well is just, I think coaches need to know, we're trying to represent all different situations and let coaches know, hey, there's somebody else out there that's in a similar situation, and what did they do to kind of, foster success. Along those same lines, we're trying to get more female coaches involved with the collective. We have some great female coaches on our mentor list, and we'd love to have even more female representation, because there are some great coaches period in our state, but even more female coaches growing by the day, in cross country and track. And the last thing I want to highlight was several of y'all mentioned about the accomplishments, whatever they might be, and being just as excited about the sub 16 boy as you are about the sub 30-minute kid that's just busting their butt and doing everything they can to break that barrier. And I cannot agree more. Like, I celebrate those things just as much as the other, maybe the varsity, because who's to say that kid isn't working harder than the kid that, they're talented, but maybe it comes a little more naturally to them. And they're working hard too. But, and I'll finish with this. There was a year at state where I think the team had dumped water over me, and we're celebrating, and a coach comes up to me and says, hey, did you guys win? And I was like, no, we were sixth. And, but that day felt like we won with that group of kids. And I think it was our best finish at the time at state. And I just thought it was kind of funny, but you would have thought we'd won the Olympics or just the Super Bowl, whatever, choose your championship. But I love that stuff. I mean, it's about that group of kids. What was their perceived ceiling, and what did you guys all accomplish together? Whatever the case may be. And that's the fun stuff to me. I love stuff like that. Coach Mayer, any?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that every coach has that, gets to have that experience with a kid that breaks a big barrier, whatever that barrier is for them. They get that experience where, again, going back to culture, like 6th felt like a huge day for y'all. It's like, and it started back in, May. I hope that every coach gets that, like that buy-in, that full picture, whole season. I don't know. Like I just reflect a little bit on some of my years, and I can think back to just specific athletes. Like my first year as a head coach, I had 1 year at Mountain View, and I started after August, and we had my 3rd day on the job was our time trial, and we did it at Mulberry, which Coach Christie knows is just an absolutely brutal place to have to run a 5K. But, especially in, on August 10th or whatever it was, and a kid that ran 48 minutes or something, and just every day was, you thought in tears, because he just maybe wasn't going to stick with it. And I remember the end of his freshman year, he ran like 27 minutes at region, and we were all just so stoked. And, and I actually think that particular kid ended up breaking 20 by the time he graduated. So, like, we love those kind of stories. And then I reflect on how lucky I've been with some athletes like Serena Tripodi and Everett Smolders. And those, of course, have their own special place. So I hope every coach kind of gets to experience those, like you said, relationships. Every kid's battle and commitment and trust in you and connectivity to the program is really what it's all about. I've already said that, like, I love the collaboration and being an open book. And for me, it's like just the creative process. I think that every coach is an artist in their own way. So I love that part of this job as well. It's not all about a book of secrets, and not everything is contentious. Like, I know, sure, there are certain years that I'm not sharing workouts or what we're doing with this coach or that coach. And even 2 or 3 years down the road, I might not be sharing that particular season of work with a particular coach in my, immediate circle of competition. But I've really loved some of the conversations that I've gotten to have with people. Just I'll name Clayton Tillery right now. Like last year, he texted me in September that he had been trying something that we had talked about years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. And it was really working for him, and he was just really pumped about it. And it was like, wow, like, and in that moment as a coach, like, I really needed it. It was cool. So I love the relationships that you can also form with other coaches. So, and I, again, wholeheartedly think, like, that's why we're doing this, and that's why this is important.
Excellent. Well, as we wrap this up, and I'm going to ask you one last quick question, but I want to tell everybody that's watching this that when you go to the website, it's going to have the coaches' names, their school, their region and classification, the specialty, and the email address, so that people can reach out as needed. And this is not just for new coaches. As Coach Cranford said, he got great help from other coach like 30 years into his career. So it's for anybody. All of us have kind of talked about, even later in our careers, getting help from other people. Coach Sparks, start us off with something you're excited about coming up in coaching. What you're excited about right now?
I think I'm most excited just to kind of see where our group is going to be this year. We've had a couple of years where we really, really struggled. We got right on the edge, or we missed like a 4x8 going to state by like 100th of a second. We've missed the past couple of years. We've run really, really well at some state meets, or we've run really well here and there, but like, you just haven't really had a low stick type. And if y'all are familiar with 4A has turned into a gauntlet after last year. Once we throw in all the just 5A schools and the private schools that have come, it's made it really fun as a coach to kind of make me feel like I have to up the expectations a little bit on myself and on my kids. But I've got a group that they've all been really, really working for, some of them 4 years, 3 years, and it's just been getting a little better and a little better, and it's finally starting to click. So there's a group of boys that I'm really, really excited to see. And then I've got a group of parents that are fantastic. They're helping us run. We're trying something new with one of our home meets, and we are Sunbelt is going to come and help us out and give us 30 tower lights. So Chris has seen our trail system we have on campus, and so we are going to run a meet over right before Labor Day where we light up the whole trail, twilight meet. The varsity boys race, I think, is supposed to start at like 9:40 p.m. on a Friday night. So it'll be something just to not have to deal with the heat aspect, but it'll be something really, really unique, and we're excited about as a program to see how this goes and if this can really take off and become a something we continue to do.
Awesome. Eric?
So this is going to be probably the youngest team we've had in, wow, maybe almost a decade. So it's complete turnover, but I'm excited for this season and the future. A lot of young runners, a lot of runners brand new to the sport, middle school and high school. So it's been a while since we've had that situation. We've always had a good group of veterans kind of mixed in. So this is kind of the first year of what I hope is going to be a pretty strong building block next four or so years. So yeah, just kind of looking forward to that. Haven't had that situation in a while. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, kind of the same here. I mean, we had a lot of success last year in the previous years on our girls and boys team, but the thing I'm most proud of this year's group, I mean, some of them were on those teams, but they're just as hungry now. They want to be the best they can be this year, just like we were the past few years. And that's, as any coach knows, that's really important, that they don't rest on the laurels or what's already been done. This is, like I tell them, I said, this is a new year. And I always ask kids, y'all know what rankings mean, don't you? No, sir, what? I said, nothing. They don't mean anything. I said, you got to go out there and do it. That's why we race, is to see who's the best on that day. I said, we got to train hard now for what's coming up. But my middle school and my high school, they're all excited about this year and what we got going on. And I don't know if y'all know much about Bleckley County. We're a really small school. We're a really poor county. We're one of the top 10 poorest counties in the state of Georgia, I think, on how they rate poorness sometimes. And we have some of the highest test scores, which normally doesn't go together. But Bleckley County is just it's a really special place. Obviously, I'm from here, so I'm a little biased, but it's just a great place to live, a great place to raise your kids. And from our superintendent down to our Board of Education to our administrators, I mean, they support not only cross country, but every sport that we have here in Bleckley County. And I'm just so blessed and so honored to be able to be in my hometown and to be able to try to give back to kids, maybe something that I didn't have when I was in high school. That's probably been my biggest motivator wanting to come back to Bleckley County, was I want to give back to these kids, maybe something I didn't have when I was in high school. And to have the support of our school, our county, and our community it's a great thing. And I'm just so proud of Bleckley County, and just look forward to what this year holds for us. And I do thank y'all for having me on this podcast as well. It's been a great thing.
You're welcome. Coach Mayer, you want to finish us up?
Yeah, well, thank all of you for being on the podcast today, but also being a part of the mentor program. Hope everybody enjoyed listening to these three, and give the website a look, give the list a look. And don't be hesitant at all about, like, if it doesn't matter. It's not an ego trip or anything like that. Like, look at the list, find somebody for you. All these coaches that are on that list have volunteered. They want to share ideas. They want to talk with you about your program and your kids and help you with whatever you want to work on. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Awesome. Let's all go watch USA's. Go Grand Blanks.